Are you wondering what's really happening in the luxury market right here in the Raleigh, North Carolina area? Well, whether you're buying, selling, or just watching from the sidelines, June brought some interesting shifts and a few surprises. Hi there, I'm Trish Dare with Dare Realty Group, and welcome back to my channel. I help professionals and executives just like yourself relocate to the Raleigh, North Carolina area. And although I specialize in the luxury market, I do help buyers across all price points. And if you like what you hear in today's video, I'd appreciate you giving it a like and following my channel so that you don't miss any information on luxury living here in the Raleigh, North Carolina area. And of course, if you need to reach out to me, you can do so via my website, Dare Realty Group. There'll be a link in the chat below, and you can schedule a call with me from that link. Okay, let's break down the numbers for June 2025. And again, we're looking at homes over $750,000, which we consider the luxury market here in Raleigh. And let's get started with Cary, which continues to always lead the pack. Cary's always a very popular spot for people moving to the area. And we did see the median sales price jump about 10%, and it's sitting right under the $1 million mark at $993,000. And then we also saw month over month, that was the year over year numbers. We saw month over month also rise from May 2025 to June about 10%. So that's a great sign happening in Cary. Closed sales also increased 8.2%, although active inventory dropped 10%. So that means that buyers are stepping up. They're buying property in Cary. And it's interesting because when you hear the news across the nation, you hear inventory levels are rising and sales are decreasing, but not in Cary in June 2025. So sellers in Cary, this could be your moment because demand is starting to outpace supply and top dollar sales are still happening. So it could be a really good time to sell if you're thinking about it. Now let's take a look at Apex, where year over year prices are up as well. Not as much as Cary. They're up about 4%. And the median home price for the luxury market is hovering right around $906,000. And then when we look at month over month price increases in Apex, those also increased about 5.7%, and closed sales jumped nearly 24%. So we're starting to see the same thing happening in Apex that's happening in Cary. And days on the market in Apex held steady at about 7 days. So homes are still selling pretty quickly. And even though inventory did jump a little bit in the Apex market, up 4.7%. I think we're just starting to see more people start to list their home. And what's interesting, when I do talk to people in my industry, including lenders and other real estate agents, I think we all concur that May was a fairly slow month. June was a very good month. And then we're starting to see July also being a very busy month. So a little bit of a delay in some of our spring market. We had a surge in the beginning of the spring, and then it had a little bit of a lull, and now things are picking back up. And so if you are thinking about relocating, definitely Apex could be an area that you want to take a serious look at. You do have close proximity to Research Triangle Park, and there's great schools. And as I mentioned in my past videos, Apex has a lot to offer. Now moving on to Holly Springs, where Holly Springs continues to be the most interesting of markets because we are just starting to see homes increase year over year, month over month. Year over year sales are up just over 5%. And for that luxury market, over $750,000. Home median price is about $882,000. When we look at the month over month data for median home price sales in Holly Springs, that rose as well, just like Apex and Cary, and that's up almost 4%. Closed sales did dip slightly in Holly Springs, and we're down about 4.8%, but homes are still selling fast. In fact, days on market dropped 25%. So I'm not really too concerned about the closed sale dropping a little bit in Holly Springs. Active inventory also rose about 4% in the Holly Springs market. So it does give a little bit more to offer for buyers coming to the area. We're starting to get some breathing room, some houses to show finally, because we've had such low inventory over the last several years. It really is nice to have homes to show to buyers when they come in from out of town. And then also noted in Holly Springs, we are starting to see a little bit of a surge with some luxury builders and building some new construction properties in Holly Springs. Finally, let's move on to Raleigh, where things are standing out a little differently in Raleigh. It was the only luxury market in the triangle of the 4 cities that I cover that had a year over year price decline. Yes, it went down about 7%. not a huge decrease, but worth noting. And then when we look at month over month median price sales for Raleigh, that also went down about 8%. I think I mentioned this in past videos. There is a lot of new construction in Raleigh, especially in the luxury market. So it could just be that some of those builders overestimated what they could sell the homes for, and those prices are starting to come down a little bit. Because what's interesting is that closed sales surged about 33%. And so we are seeing people buying, and that could be why those prices are coming down. They're negotiating good prices on what they're closing. Because also when we look at inventory levels are pretty flat in Raleigh. So what does this all mean? I think buyers are jumping on opportunities when the price is right. And what's great is that when houses are sitting on the market, buyers are coming in and we're negotiating lower prices. We're going way under some of these list prices and really getting some great deals, especially on homes that have been sitting on the market. In fact, days on the market rose about 71% in Raleigh. What do we make of all this? I think buyers, as we mentioned in past videos, are becoming more selective. And even in the strong markets like Cary and Apex and even in Holly Springs, buyers are acting quickly on homes that are priced well. They're in great condition. They appeal to them emotionally, meaning they come in and the homes are staged, they look great. Those are the homes that are selling within the weekend. And most likely, if they're not in multiple offer situation, they're selling for list price. The homes that feel a little worn, we feel that they're a little overpriced, those are the ones that are sitting on the market. And those are the ones, however, that I think buyers should take a look at, because I think those are the ones that we can really get some great deals on and have a lot more negotiating power. So some final thoughts for you that are thinking about moving to the area, or perhaps you're already here and you're thinking about buying. That window for buying, I feel like we're in it right now because we don't know what's going to happen with the interest rates. They're talking about them coming down in the next few months. And I think if that does happen, I think we're going to start to see that competitive situation like we saw a couple of years ago. So I feel like right now is a great time to come in, take advantage of some of these homes that are sitting a little longer and really being able to have strong negotiation power on this. So if you're thinking about relocating or just curious about what's happening in the market and you would like to set up a call with me, I'm happy to go over all these numbers and all the towns in greater detail. So feel free to reach out. As I mentioned earlier, you can reach me via my website, Dare Realty Group, and there's going to be a link in the chat below. And of course, I do appreciate you watching this video. And if you found this information helpful, please give it a like and subscribe so that you don't miss any future information about luxury living in the Triangle. And thanks again, and I'll see you on the next video.